I'm here with Paolo of Trivium to talk about the upcoming new EP, Struck Dead, out October 31st on Roadrunner Records. Always a pleasure to see you. Always a pleasure to
Yeah,
talk
great.
to you. And let me start off by saying, man, I really love that porn stash.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a new look. I just actually my inspiration. I was reading a bunch of Black Sabbath books, and I kept seeing the pictures of Geezer and Tony with the stashes. I'm like, you know what? I think I could probably rock that. Give a new look. It gives me an edge, I think.
It's full, like it's
Yeah,
got
I actually
substance.
trimmed it. I trimmed it a little bit the other day when I got back from Aftershock, just as a kind of like just before tour, shorten things a little bit. But it was getting pretty thick, so I think
Yeah,
for the
you you
tour, I'm
you
gonna
got
like
some
rock it hard.
you definitely have some volume in there, so that's you got some good genes.
Yeah, I guess because I can't grow it up here anymore, at least we'll grow here.
I feel your pain, man.
Yeah,
We're on the same boat here. We're on the
yeah.
same boat. I was at a friend's house in Iceland visiting, and I asked them for a blow dryer, and they looked at me like I was like an alien, and I was like, "This, I need to blow dry this," you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel your pain. So let's talk about the CP. Some
Yes.
brand new songs you guys are releasing on October 31st. Listening to it, I kind of got a vibe that there's a sense of continuation from In the Court of the Dragon. Are these songs leftover tracks from that creative process, or is this all brand new stuff just influenced
Um,
by the previous record?
Let me think with the riffs because that sometimes is like a thing that like we'll sometimes have riffs. They'll be like, oh, there's a riff that's been laying around for 15 years that was great, but just never got used. I want to say for this, it was definitely pretty much all like in the jam room, most of that stuff. There might have been like one riff that maybe Corey had that like started things off that was like an older riff that we kind of like kept using and then it kept getting pushed to the next song, then to the next song. But for the most part, it was mostly new. And I would say that when we went in, we were jamming all of Ascendancy because that's when the time frame of us writing this and recording this. So it was kind of like I'd say a continuation, like you said, of the last three records, but also I would say maybe a little bit more of an edge just because we were jamming Ascendancy, which is a heavy record, pretty intense. Same tuning for the most part. We just tune a half step down instead of the standard tuning we did back then. So it was like we didn't even bother switching tunings. It was like, well, we're rehearsing Ascendancy in this tuning. We're going to write the EP in that as well. So it's kind of like that was kind of like the creative process at that point when we were originally jamming it.
I have to ask you this question because we didn't get to chat when the album came out, so I want to ask you this. In the Court of the Dragon, not my favorite Trivium record, I must say,
Hmm.
but considering how critically acclaimed the album has been, it just goes to show you that I don't know shit. So, in considering that and the
Yeah.
success that's come from it, do you see that album as perhaps a defining record when it comes to where the band moves forward?
Oh, that's tough. It's kind of funny because I guess for me, I'm like, I wouldn't say it's my one of my favorites of ours either, but I like it's a really good record. I'm like to me, the last three records are like some of our best stuff. But I don't know, like for me, it's like I don't know, just because like it's a good record doesn't mean it's like it has reached that level of where I'm like, okay, this is like one I go, that's one where we had something special for whatever reason. Like I feel like of the last three records, I think Sin is still my favorite.
Me too.
Um,
Me too.
but I still like the last two. It's like it's kind of a weird, like it doesn't mean I disliked them, and it's not even like oh, there's like these couple tracks that really stick out. It's just for whatever reason, like sometimes you write the songs, and if you're like, at least for me, like being as objective as I can be about what we've written, I'm like, okay, I think Sin is still for whatever reason. Maybe it was just because um, we had a change at that point, and it sort of was like a breath of fresh air and like what we were writing at that point was just kind of like we needed to kind of shift away from what we had done on Silence in the Snow, and it was just that thing. But it's like I guess once you've done a record like Sin, it's like okay, well, how you follow it up? And so it's like I guess that's always the question: do you make a real big departure to try to do something really different and like interesting? Do you kind of stay the course? And I'm like, I guess we kind of like balanced it a little bit, but I do feel like maybe in hindsight, in the Court of the Dragon because obviously we were off for the whole, couple years of craziness, it was like we had nothing to do, so we made a record. I'm like, now in hindsight, I would have either pushed the record a little bit longer, or we could have just held off and just toured What the Dead Men Say when we finally did come back out. But hindsight being 2020, we didn't even know if we were going to be touring for like 5 years. So it was kind of like, well, we may as well go in and record a record to kill some time. And maybe that's why I kind of feel like that about the record. I'm like, well, that's definitely a different way to go in and do something rather than before it was always like we had toured for like a whole cycle and now it's time for the next record. It was like that was such a quick follow up to What the Dead Men Say. I think it was like a year and a half.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. It's not like those records are not good records. I just feel like The Sin is a very easy to digest record, really easy to get into, easy to
Yeah.
vibe. What you see is what you get. And then the other
Yeah.
two records are a little bit more demanding from the listener. I feel like
Mm,
you have to give it a little bit more attention.
for
You
sure.
have to sit with them a little bit longer. And I think that for me perhaps is why, because one was like, man, this was so easy to get into, and now
Yeah,
you guys
yeah.
are asking me to put some effort and work into.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think so. And I mean, I guess it's interesting too, because like trying to think of like, of the key tracks of the last couple of records too. Like the one that's definitely, at least from what I've kind of gathered from like playing live and stuff, that really has connected the probably the best, and I guess maybe does demand you to listen a lot is Catastrophist, but maybe it's because at least it like when it starts, it sort of doesn't. Like I feel like it's pretty easy to get where we're going, and then we kind of go on our like little crazy tangent in the middle. But yeah, I guess that is a good way to describe it. It's a little more demanding, which it's kind of a blessing and a curse, I guess, sometimes because you're like, a lot of people are always demanding the proggy, go crazy, throw the kitchen sink at things. But I'm like, that always is the balance, because if you lose people with the song, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. It's like you can't expect them to listen through to 6 and 7 when you kind of lose someone on 1 and 2 on the track list. So yeah, that's always something we think about. And I think this EP for me is like obviously the big project was making the studio. So like for me, the EP is also attached to the creation of our studio. This is like okay, we're up and running now. Let's press record. We got a couple songs. Originally it was gonna be a single, then it became 3 songs. And we considered, does this start the record? Is this where we're starting? And then we decided, no, this is great on its own. We're gonna have a totally clean slate and start the record fresh and really like spend the time to kind of get in there and put the amount of time that one having a studio would afford us, but also after making 3 really solid records and an EP, like kind of figuring out where do we go from here, because that is kind of a big question always, like do you stay the course, do you try something a little differently? And I think we just need the time to basically experiment, record a lot of stuff right beyond what we even put on the record and just kind of feel like what group of songs are the core here, what's the message musically, lyrically, themes. We got to get that really tight before I think the next record is ready.
Having your own studio, what kind of impacts does that give you guys? Besides obviously giving you the affordability of time and being able to work
Yeah.
on your own schedule.
um I think it's going to allow us to go between writing and recording a lot more seamlessly. I think this EP was the start, but I can already tell, like, because we've been writing a lot for the next record, and we're able to really go from like getting a cool idea to like tracking it for our demos. And honestly, if we wanted to, going from that demos to like actually starting to like put like real stuff down because it's also seamless. Like, okay, we're jamming, we can record right down to our studio. Okay, we can start laying down real tracks, we can start getting vocal ideas immediately. And I think when you're just on a roll, that's when a lot of really great stuff happens. It's not like I mean, you could definitely like spend a little time, get everything perfect, but sometimes it's just that gut instinct. I want to like get that stuff down as fast as possible and then like have time to reflect, refine it. Um, but to me, it's like, yeah, that's a really exciting thing. And I think every time we record in there, we're going to get a quicker process with that, figuring things out. Like we had spent a little time this last time we were writing a couple weeks ago, and getting some of the other stuff set up, like our amp chamber, where we could just have basically an endless shootout with all the gear and stuff we have, where it's like we can fit like 4 or 5 cabs in this thing, but it's like we had to spend a little time on this like project, and it's like we're mostly done with everything, but it's like those little things we're still kind of fine tuning and tweaking. And I guess for us, it's just the ultimate goal as a musician to have your own place to record music. I mean, I can't think of anything cooler than that. At least for me, that to me has always been a dream.
I can only think of one thing is not that you guys have the studio in the hangar, you need a plane.
I know, yeah. It would have to be a nice jet. I don't think I'm ready to get one of those prop planes that's flying around us. People have offered. I'm like, I don't want to get in one of those.
No, I would
A
agree
little
with you.
sketchy.
You need at least like a G6 or whatever those things are called, something a little bit more classy.
Yeah, yeah.
You definitely need something like that. You guys have an incredible discography. I saw you guys on tour with Bullet for My Valentine, where you're playing
Oh yeah.
some old school stuff. You guys played in Toronto at a casino of all places, which was
Wild.
was wild. Yeah, it was quite the vibe, I must say. How do you guys balance the nostalgia of the past with a desire to be new and fresh in the future?
I guess we kind of have like a fortunate thing because I mean, of course, for a diehard Trivium fan, especially if you're a diehard that's been here for a long time, obviously Ascendancy, Shogun, In Waves are probably like the core three of like what our fans from that era would like kind of say is like the top tier. And then of course, songs on some of the other records as well. But like some of our biggest music is our like last 10, 12 years, like Heart from Your Hate, World Goes Cold, are like we play those songs like at Aftershock. We played Like Light to the Flies, In Waves. We played those two. We played a couple others. Down from the Sky, we closed with it for the first time ever. And without a doubt, like Heart from Your Hate and World Goes Cold are like the biggest songs we play. They're not our heaviest. Um, I don't know if that'd be the song I would show someone be like, hey, this is what I feel like Trivium is. But it's a big part of who we are. And it's like, I guess we've been lucky. Like that's like the last half of our career has been that. And so in a weird way, it's like it's kind of freed us from like the nostalgia in some aspects where it's like we don't have to go back and go, well, the one that everyone says is our best record was 20 years ago. I mean, a lot of people would say Ascendancy is probably our best, but I feel like when you kind of like see how our fan base has grown, it's definitely way more of a wide range of like when people have gotten into us. And a good chunk of the fans that come to our shows now are like people we've won in the last like 10 years. So it's a good problem to have because we still love our old music. I don't think we would ever take it out of the set. We kind of try to be like, well, if you're new here, here's some old stuff you got to get up to speed on because we still love playing it. We still have all the fans that come out for those. It's kind of part of the history. So we try to have best of both worlds.
And speaking of which, you mentioned something there that I thought was really interesting, which was the song that I would introduce the band with. Having a reaction channel on YouTube, I'm very
Yeah.
critical when people ask us to check out a band for the first time. And sometimes
Yeah.
they give us what it's their favorite song, but it's
Yeah.
not the best song to introduce a new
Uh-huh.
listener to. If you were to introduce Aliens to Trivium, what song would you pick?
Yeah. I'd probably go with, for me, I would go with Down from the Sky because I think it has a lot of elements of like even stuff that was to come for us. But it has like a really good blend of the heavy and the melodic side of our bands. It has, I think, like some of the best side of both, where, I love the heaviness of that record. I love the heaviness of that song, but there was like these really soaring choruses, but we kind of broke free of like, Ascendancy was like kind of like in that vein of like the metalcore style of things, even though I think we did it a little bit differently. But like Shogun was kind of like its own thing, and we were really breaking free of like, okay, we have to kind of do melodic vocals this way, we have to do screaming this way. And so to me, that's still one of like our pinnacle moments, that record and that song. I think it's playing it like the last show. I'm just like, man, like it's still one I just never get tired of playing because it like has the big epic intro, it just really ramps up so nicely.
From the EP, from these tracks, three tracks,
Yeah.
which one is your favorite one from a bass player standpoint?
Ooh. I mean, Six Walls is definitely, I don't know how I feel yet about it in terms of playing it live because we haven't. It might be one of those ones where I'm like, ooh, this is a little bit more than I thought it would be live. But I mean, that was definitely fun to track. I think my favorite is still the title track. But I do like Bury Me too because it's like the first one we did for the EP, and it gets right to the point. It's very in your face, fast and aggressive. So it's probably the title track though. I think I love the groove. I like it sometimes the simple stuff and just like it just feels good. I have a feeling it's going to be a fun one to play live.
You know, when you guys released the first track from the EP, if you go to the comment section, it's a wide array of people loving it, hating it, liking it.
Mhm.
It's the best song you guys have ever done. Who you feel puts the biggest pressure on your shoulders, the fans or you guys on each other?
I mean, I gotta say, I think we do. Because it's like one of those things where I'm like, we are pretty like self-critical in our writing. Not in like a bad way, not like nasty, but I'm like, I do think like when we're in there, we like will shoot stuff down if it like feels like we're not nailing like what it is or it doesn't feel good enough. I do think like the reason the last three records are good records, objectively, in my opinion, like they're good records, is like we did put a lot of like effort and pressure in on ourselves to like have cool stuff. Um, you know, I think we did that on the EP as well. Now, whether it's the best stuff we've done, I guess that's up to fans to kind of decide that. But I do feel like we like try to hold ourselves to a high standard on like every level. We've kind of realized, yeah, like there's no room to not be operating at your best, trying to get better if you can, and that includes our playing and also just what we're writing, what we're bringing to the table, and just the ideas. Like, are we executing a solid idea that we have?
Is there any doors left for you guys to open? Because I feel like you guys have reached such a pinnacle in your careers with the band. Played all the biggest festivals, touring around
Yeah.
the world. Maybe owning the plane is really the missing one.
Yeah, no, I definitely think so. I think we feel like there's still some room for us to keep going, and I think that's it. Is like as long as you're not totally satisfied with like where things are, not even in terms of like oh like material things. Like to me, that's not really the driving thing. It's more of like have we made the record that is what we think like wow like step back and be like we made something even crazier than we could have imagined and I'm like maybe we've already made those records but I kind of always feel like you got to always in the back of your mind feel like there's something left to say and write. I think we definitely feel that way, so the challenge is getting in there and like proving it. Like can we do it? Can we make that record that's the tops them all or something different that people weren't expecting from us but that people are like, wow, I never would have expected it, but I love it. I think Sin is that in some ways. I don't think people were expecting that record from us at that point.
Is for you, from your standpoint, the legacy of the band, not just the music you guys are creating, but also how you carry yourselves and how you treat those around you?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, our crew that we've had basically has been the same guys for the last 5 or 6 years almost. And I know that they've turned down other jobs to keep this one, not like bad jobs, like good ones. It's like I feel like it's a testament to just how we like to travel and how we tour and how we interact with people we work with. I do think that says a lot about us. I hope. I mean, I take that as we're good people to be around if we've had like a pretty long-term crew because like at the end of the day, like they can walk away whenever they want if something else better comes along. Um, but yeah, and even like fans, meet and greets, I think over the years you just realize like, yeah, like these are the people that made the hangar possible, that made all this possible. So you gotta always remember, like, give people time and not just a quick like, hey, like picture and hello. Like you try to if it's only a 30-second or minute interaction, try to like, connect on some level and not just be kind of like, hey, nice to meet you, next kind of thing. Trying to, no matter what, even if it's like been a long day, trying to keep that in mind.
I love also what you guys do in terms of touring and the choices that you guys make for your supporting acts, always giving
Yeah.
opportunities not only to big bands to come along with you, but also to smaller bands to come along with you. Is that a little bit of paying it forward that you guys do?
Yeah. I mean, like this band who was on the tour with us in the last one, it's like we get a chance to pick bands that we're into and that we like. And in a way, like, bands like Bleed From Within or Orbit Culture to the openers from the last two tours we did, you know, they're kind of like in a way like, you know, they've been around a bit, but I'm like they're newer bands and you know, we were in their position at one point and getting like a tour, you know, say with Trivium and Bullet for My Valentine is a big opportunity to be in front of a wide audience of like different people. So I love that we can provide that for bands and it's like kind of keeping the genre moving forward. Like you're giving opportunities to people and you know, it's also a good way to get cool shirts for free when you bring out good bands.
Especially it helps on laundry day. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's when you know when people are running out of stuff on tour, they start asking about like, "Hey, can I get a shirt
yeah, yeah,
from your band?"
for sure, for sure. That's always the
Yeah.
key side. You guys are hitting the road with Ginger. You're going to be in
Yes.
London, Ontario. You're not
Yeah,
playing.
been a while.
Yeah, you're not playing Toronto, but you're very close, just a few hours
Yeah.
from Toronto and London, Ontario. From this tour, from this EP, will this EP be a huge part of your set list?
Yeah, so obviously I didn't know if you were going to get into it, but I guess we could at least talk about it. Like obviously we have a different drummer joining us on the
Yeah, I
tour,
didn't know if it was
Grayson.
cool. I'm gonna be honest with you.
No, no,
I
no.
don't
That's
want to make
fine.
things awkward for you, dude.
No.
So I wanted to like
Yeah.
leave it up to you. If you want to bring it up, I'm totally
Yeah.
cool with it. You
No,
know.
no, it's totally cool. I mean, I feel like the statement that Alex put up and everything we've said kind of covers like the gist of everything. But it is like I should mention that we do have a different drummer that's filling in for this tour. For anyone that is just finding out now, it's Grayson Nekrutman, who's been playing with Sepultura, who just so happens to not have anything on his schedule with Sepultura. And so I was just talking to him actually today, since we're about to kind of talk about set lists and this EP being a part of it. And so we basically gave him like a pretty big list of like way beyond what we would play, you know, for the tour, you know, like more of like a Bruce Springsteen length set list that we wouldn't play for everyone this time. Not that some people don't want us to play 3 hours, but I think that would be a bit much. But so yeah, we're like, hey, these are ones we definitely want to do. These are ones that are sort of like up to you, but like we would definitely be into just kind of giving him like a choice because I don't want to be like, hey, listen to everything in our like discography and like learn it now. But so yeah, we kind of gave it to them. So he kind of sent us back a list. And so we're kind of whittling it down. And so I think you know, at least probably one or two from the EP. And maybe it'll be one of those things where it'll start as one and then it'll be two at some point. We might rotate a little bit here and there. But it's been cool because he's like been one of the first ones he was like he wanted to do was Ember to Inferno, and we were kind of surprised. I was like, oh man, like that's a cool pick. You know, I think fans will be down for something a little more old school. We haven't done that in a while, so it's kind of been fun going back and like kind of picking out a set list that's a little blend of kind of what we did in Europe, kind of what we did on these festivals. But I think it's going to be a little different and you know get something really fun and exciting and just end this year on a high note.
Does he have a little bit of wiggle room to add some of his own flair to the songs?
I mean, I definitely don't expect you know, for 3 weeks, I think for his like level of scale, it's gonna be pretty much very, very close to like being nailed down. And especially as we keep touring, I feel like it'll only get better because he literally spent 2 12-hour days at home learning the aftershock set. And then he came down, rehearsed with us for 2 days, and then we played the show like 2 days later. So it was like a very, very quick turnaround. Um, and even like again, like even like an easier Trivium song, there are like dynamics and nuances to it that are a lot to pick up because maybe it's not like a cookie cutter thing. And yeah, there's a lot that goes into that. But I think now he's kind of like just at home, just wailing away on these songs. I saw he put up Pull Harder yesterday, and I'm like, well, sounds like he almost got it perfect there. I mean, no notes for me.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. I'm
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of videos because people are going to be doing a lot of videos of you guys when you're playing
yeah,
live. So exciting times. I'm going to put the tour dates in the description of our video
yeah.
so people can go and pick up some tickets and go see Trivium on the road. Ginger is also part of the package. I can't remember who the other band is. There's another
It's a band named Harriet. They're from the
Harriet.
UK.
All right,
Yeah,
perfect. So it's a great tour package as always. You guys always bring great tour packages with you
thank
guys
you.
everywhere you go. So this one is no different. I'm just a little bit sour that there's no Toronto show. So you guys forcing me to
I
drive
know.
three
Yeah,
hours.
we're doing the the cities that like usually get passed over, and some that we haven't been to in a while, and some we've never been to. So I'm actually kind of excited for it. It's nice to see some new cities on the list.
That is for sure. That is for sure, man. Paulo, thank you very much for your time, man. This is a pleasure as always to see you, to talk to you about Trivium. All the best to you and everybody, and have a safe tour out there and enjoy yourself.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.